The restaurant went completely silent the moment everyone realized what I had done. My friends had expected me to laugh, make an excuse, or secretly leave after seeing the woman waiting at the table. Instead, tears filled several eyes as I quietly pulled out the chair across from her, smiled with complete sincerity, and treated her with the respect every human being deserves. None of them knew that my reaction came from a painful chapter of my own life that I had never shared with anyone. That unexpected blind date became the beginning of a story that changed far more than two lonely hearts. Before we continue, if you believe kindness is more powerful than appearances and that everyone deserves a second chance at happiness, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us what truly matters. My name is Nathan, and I lived in Columbus, Ohio, where life often felt like an endless routine of work, empty evenings, and polite smiles hiding quiet loneliness. After years of focusing only on my career as an architect, my coworkers constantly joked that I needed to start dating again. Unknown to me, they secretly arranged a blind date, believing it would be entertaining. They assumed I would reject the woman the moment I saw her. They never imagined how wrong they would be. When I walked into the restaurant, I noticed a beautiful smile before I noticed anything else. Sitting by the window was a woman named Grace. She was plus-sized, dressed elegantly in a soft blue dress, with gentle brown eyes that carried years of disappointment, hidden behind remarkable kindness. She stood nervously when she saw me approaching, clearly expecting another painful rejection before the evening had even begun. Her hands trembled slightly as she greeted me, as though she had experienced this same heartbreak many times before. As we shared dinner, something remarkable happened. Instead of awkward silence, there was laughter. Instead of judgment, there was curiosity. Grace spoke about her work as a children's librarian, where she spent every day encouraging young readers to dream bigger than their circumstances. She described organizing free reading programs for struggling families and spending weekends collecting books for underfunded schools across Ohio. Every story she shared revealed compassion that could never be measured by appearance. Meanwhile, I found myself remembering my younger sister, Sarah. Years earlier, after surviving a serious illness, the medication she depended on caused dramatic weight gain. I watched strangers whisper about her, friends disappear from her life, and even family members treat her differently. The brightest person I knew slowly began believing she was unworthy of love simply because society judged her body before seeing her heart. She passed away several years later after complications unrelated to her weight, but I never forgot how deeply careless words had wounded her spirit. Looking at Grace, I recognized the same guarded smile Sarah used to wear whenever she expected rejection. Halfway through dinner, one of my coworkers accidentally revealed the truth. The blind date had never been intended as a sincere attempt to help me find someone. It had been organized as a cruel joke, with several people waiting nearby to see how quickly I would walk away. The realization hit everyone like a heavy storm. Grace quietly lowered her eyes, already preparing herself for another humiliating ending. Instead, I stood, walked around the table, and gently took my seat beside her rather than across from her. I thanked her for spending her evening with me and told everyone present that the only embarrassing thing happening in that restaurant was the way people judged another human being based on appearance instead of character. The room became painfully quiet. Some people looked at the floor, others wiped away tears. For the first time, many of them realized that what they had considered harmless entertainment had become someone's deepest emotional wound. From that evening forward, Grace and I continued meeting. We explored parks throughout Ohio, volunteered together at community food banks, visited bookstores, attended church events, and discovered that our greatest joy came from serving others rather than impressing anyone. She encouraged me to become more patient, while I reminded her daily that her worth had never depended on a number printed on a scale. Together, we learned that healing often begins when someone chooses to see the soul instead of the surface. Months later, Grace decided not because anyone pressured her, but because she wanted to feel healthier, that she would begin taking better care of herself. I joined her every step of the way, Some mornings we celebrated small victories during peaceful walks around the neighborhood. Other weeks were filled with setbacks, frustration, and discouragement. Yet unlike every painful experience she had endured before, this journey was never about changing herself to deserve love. It was about loving herself enough to pursue better health, while already knowing she was valuable exactly as she was. A year later, our church hosted a community celebration, where many of the same co-workers attended. They were surprised not because Grace looked different, but because the happiness between us was impossible to ignore. She radiated confidence that had nothing to do with appearance. The people who once laughed quietly approached us with sincere apologies, admitting they had learned an unforgettable lesson from that single evening. Standing beside Grace that afternoon, I realized that true beauty had never entered the restaurant wearing a certain dress size. It had entered carrying kindness, courage, forgiveness, and a heart that refused to become bitter, despite years of unfair judgment. Those qualities transformed not only her life, but everyone willing to look beyond appearances. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more inspiring stories that remind us compassion can change lives. Special request, before this story ends, please comment with one word: kindness. If you believe every person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter how they look. That blind date was supposed to become the cruelest joke of my life. Instead, it became the greatest blessing God ever placed in my path. Sometimes the people the world overlooks are the very ones who teach us what love, humanity, and real beauty truly mean. And in the end, it was never my reaction that left the room in tears. It was the realization that kindness will always be more powerful than prejudice.